Hey everyone, I want to just go over some things about the essay assignment that's due next week. You're getting ready this week for this exploratory essay that you'll be submitting next week. I want to make sure that the expectations for that assignment are really clear. So I'm in D2L under this first module in table of contents. I'm going to scroll down and go to assignments this semester, and the exploratory project packet is here. You've already read this. The assignment for the essay itself is on the last 2 pages. So I want to emphasize, as you're getting ready to write this paper, that your approach to your research question may have shifted a tiny bit in the last week or two as you've researched. Your sub-questions may have shifted. Remember, those things are just tools to help you do focused, manageable research. So now your job will be to summarize how experts answer your research question. In other words, the debate that surrounds your topic. All right. Remember, as you know, you're not going to be taking a position yet. You should be objective as much as possible and convince your readers that you are open-minded about approaching both sides of your research question. Okay. You'll be incorporating material from at least 3 sources, including one from OneSearch. All right. So to get a passing grade of at least a C, your essay has to cover the following content. Well, I already said this. Informed, thoughtful information about your debate. Try to give roughly equal time to 2 sides. And then also I want you to include thoughts on possibilities for future research. That might be for the experts. What do they need to research? Or it could also be for you. Like if you were to expand on this essay in the second half of the paper, what would you want to know more about? So the last part might be covered briefly in just a couple sentences in your conclusion, or maybe even in a separate body paragraph if you have a lot to say. Let's talk about the source requirements. You need to use at least 3 written sources that are credible for college level research and appropriate for your research question. The source analysis worksheet should help you continue your habits or develop your habits in carefully evaluating your sources so that you know that they're written by credible people and published in reliable, reputable places. You must use OneSearch to find at least one of your sources, maybe all of your sources. You don't have to use a scholarly article necessarily, although you could. We talked in week 2 about the benefits of scholarly journal articles, and we'll talk more about them in the coming weeks. But for now, at least 3 written sources. That is a bare minimum. You can definitely use more. And they don't have to be the same sources that you talked about in your proposal or wrote your saws on. The second requirement for source use is that you're synthesizing the information, showing where sources agree and disagree. What I don't want you to do is to have just one source per paragraph summarizing one source at a time. Instead, I want you to show connections between sources and show where they disagree. I talk about that in my little video on the sample paper, so if you're confused about that, check out that video. And then smoothly integrate quotations and paraphrase effectively and cite them correctly in MLA form. We're going to talk about that this week, and also MLA form is covered on page 8 in your syllabus, as well as other places in D2L. Just a reminder, it might be tempting to just load your paper filled with all these great quotations that you found, but you want most of the words in the paper to be your words. So use quotations sparingly and rely on summary and paraphrase to put the material into your own words, and then cite the source so that your voice doesn't get lost. And always cite. Always let us know where you're getting the information. That shows that you've done your homework, and plus it's the right thing to do. All right, your essay has to have a works cited list. I am not going to be picky about format yet. The most important thing is that your works cited list contains an entry or citation for every source that you used in your paper, so that your in-text citations lead directly to your works cited list, so we can find all your sources. All right. If you don't have a works cited list, I will not grade your paper. It'll be counted late, and I'll wait for you to submit that part. In addition, your essay must master all the English 101 stuff. Okay, you need to have solid structure and organization with at least 5 or 6 cohesive paragraphs and reasonably clear sentence structures. Remember, there's no one perfect formula for everybody's paper, so there's no magical structure that I'm looking for. But one easy way is to have an intro, to have a paragraph or two on one side of your debate, and a paragraph or two on the other side of your debate. If your issue is something we might not be familiar with, you might need an additional background paragraph after your intro to give us the background readers need. Okay. You might also have a paragraph that describes a middle ground or another side. So determine what it is that you want to say and then figure out the number of paragraphs you'll need to do it. But there should be at least 5 or 6 cohesive paragraphs. The length requirement is a minimum of 900 words, not counting the works cited list. Remember that these length requirements help us meet the Illinois Articulation Agreements requirements so that your course will transfer to another school. The deadline is Monday, but you can have a 24-hour grace period, meaning I will not penalize papers until after February 9th. So Tuesday night is the latest I'd like you to submit them. If you need more time than that, please arrange an extension in advance. The submission directions are the same. Let me know if you have questions. For format, no title pages, double space, give your paper a title. I'm not super concerned about the heading actually, but I've described the right way to do it. And then you're going to be submitting a self-appraisal as well in a separate document in the same folder. And in your self-appraisal, you're just going to be really informal about telling me at least 2 strengths in your essay, 2 things that you're proud of. You can brag on yourself. You can look at the rubric if you want to look at what kinds of things I might be looking for, but really anything that you find to be strong in your essay. And then I also want you to provide at least 2 weaknesses. That word 2 is missing, or at least 2 things that you struggled with or things that challenged you. Remember that good writers don't typically say, oh, this was easy, nothing went wrong, everything's great. Good, experienced writers are very honest about the things that were difficult for them. Okay, here's the rubric I will use. Content, use of sources, structure, style, and MLA format. You can take a look at that, and if you have any questions about anything in here, make sure you just follow up with me. I think the last thing I want to point out is that this essay is worth 50 points. Now, that is a bigger chunk of your grade than other assignments so far this semester, but I also want to put this in perspective. This essay is 50 points out of 1,000, so it's really not a huge chunk of your course grade. It's a really important essay in terms of laying the groundwork for a possible expanded paper after spring break. It's also a really important essay in terms of meeting the page requirements that you need to meet in English 102 this semester. Grade-wise, there's a little room for you to mess up. What I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't be super stressed out about this essay. I want you to take it seriously and do well. But this class is designed to reward improvement toward the end of the semester. So you'll also have a chance to revise this if you really want to. So please take it seriously, but I don't want you panicking about your grade or anything like that. I think that's all I want to say. You know how to reach me if you have any questions at all. I'm really wanting you all to feel good about writing this paper, and Bill and I are both happy to help you in any way that we can so that you can write a paper that you're happy with. Be in touch if you need us.